Unlike other killer couples, Fred and Rose West are outliers in that they were just as psychopathic as one another and just as likely to murder whether they had met one another or not. Here are the bullet points, and warning, the details are graphic. Fred and Rose West were born in England. They met at a bus stop when Rose was 15 and Fred was 27. Both Fred and Rose lost their virginities to their parents by the age of 12 or 13. Fred also witnessed his father copulating with his sisters, as well as many of the animals who lived on the farm. You heard me right. Both Fred and Rose regularly sexually assaulted their younger opposite-sex siblings. Fred and Rose raised several children together, all of whom they sexually assaulted and sadistically tortured, two of whom they killed. Rose murdered her stepdaughter Charmaine while Fred was in jail for a brief period. And both Fred and Rose decided to kill their firstborn Heather Ann because she complained too much about the constant rape and abuse by her parents. Fred was formally charged with 12 murders, 2 of which were former partners of Fred's, and Rose was charged with 9 murders. All victims of the couple were teenage girls or young women, many of whom were simply abducted by the pair. Most of the bodies were discovered in the garden in their backyard at 25 Cromwell Street. Aside from the tortures and murders they were carrying out, Fred and Rose decided to turn their living space at 25 Cromwell Street into a brothel of sorts, where they pimped out their children and where Rose would see both female and male clients, and Fred would watch the sexual liaisons through peepholes they drilled into the walls. At some point, Rose's father discovered that she had become a prostitute. His response? He became one of Rose's most frequent clients at the brothel. Eventually, the rumor that Heather Ann, Fred and Rose's eldest daughter, had been murdered and buried beneath the concrete in their backyard led to a search warrant. And body after body was recovered from the back. After being convicted, Fred later hung himself in prison, and Rose continues to serve her sentence at HM Prison Newhall in West Yorkshire. The majority of serial killers I've researched experience some form of incest within their family system, either through direct contact or through indirect means by simply witnessing it. Childhood incest, and specifically parental incest, is particularly violating and damaging to the developing brain. And the lack of boundaries in this way can imprint the message that personal space violations, even something as extreme as rape and murder, don't matter, and might be a perfectly normal way to express one's feelings. In other words, alongside genetic makeup and brain structure, childhood incest might play a key factor in how psychopathic deviance develops.